What if I told you that everything in your life, your success, your happiness, your health, is shaped by just one habit? Not 10, not 5, just one. See, most people believe success is about raw talent, luck, or having the right connections. They think the people who make it big had something special that they didn't. But let me tell you the truth. Success isn't about any of those things. It's about a single defining habit. Think about it. Every successful person you admire, whether it's an athlete, an entrepreneur, or a world leader, has that one habit that changed the game for them. For Kobe Bryant, it was waking up before sunrise to practice while the rest of the world was still asleep. For Warren Buffett, it was reading obsessively to build his knowledge base. For Oprah Winfrey, it was journaling and self-reflection, allowing her to navigate life with clarity and vision. So let me ask you, what's your defining habit? Because whether you realize it or not, your habits are running your life. They're deciding what kind of person you'll become. The question is, are they working for you or against you? Here's the secret. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need to master 10 different self-improvement techniques. You need just one habit that, if done consistently, will create a ripple effect in every area of your life. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people standing at the same starting line. One decides to build the habit of reading 10 pages a day. The other scrolls social media for an extra 20 minutes every night. 1 year later, one of them has consumed the knowledge of 10 books. The other, they've scrolled through thousands of posts but gained nothing. One habit, two completely different lives. The difference between who you are today and who you'll be a year from now isn't some massive dramatic change. It's the small daily choices you make. And it all starts with that one habit. So here's my challenge to you. What's the one habit you need to commit to today? Maybe it's waking up an hour earlier. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's exercising for just 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be consistent. Because when you get the right habit in place, everything else falls into alignment. And if you don't, then a year from now, you'll be in the same place wondering why nothing changed. So don't wait for tomorrow. Decide today. Pick your one habit and let it change everything. We love the idea of overnight success. It's a story that sells. A struggling artist wakes up one morning to find their song has gone viral. A small business owner suddenly lands $1 million deal. A nobody turns into a somebody overnight. But here's the truth. Overnight success is a myth. Nobody wakes up one day and magically succeeds. Every so-called go-overnight success is built on years of unseen effort, discipline, and persistence. The problem? People don't see the struggle. They only see the breakthrough. Let's talk about one of the most successful brands in the world, Nike. People think it became $1 billion company because of flashy marketing and celebrity endorsements. But what they don't see is the founder, Phil Knight, selling shoes out of the trunk of his car for 7 years before Nike even turned a profit. 7 years of struggle before anyone even cared. Or take J.K. Rowling. Everyone knows her as the billionaire author of Harry Potter, but what they don't talk about is how she was rejected 12 times before a publisher finally took a chance on her. The truth is, nobody blows up overnight. They build momentum through years of small daily wins. And that's exactly how your success will happen too. If you want to change your life, stop chasing the fantasy of an overnight breakthrough. Start focusing on stacking small wins. Because here's how success really works. The musician who goes viral, they spent years playing to empty rooms. The athlete who dominates the game, they trained when no one was watching. The business owner who made it, they worked in silence for a decade before you ever heard their name. Small wins compound. A single push-up today won't make you fit, but 100 push-ups over time will. Reading one page won't make you an expert, but reading every day will transform your mind. Waking up early once won't change your life, but making it a habit will. The problem isn't that success takes time. The problem is that most people quit before they ever see results. And that's where you have a choice. You can either give up when things get tough, or you can trust the process. Trust that every small action is a brick in the foundation of something bigger. Because when you stack small wins, success doesn't just become possible, it becomes inevitable. If you can control your habits, you can control your destiny. But let's be real, most people don't feel in control. They wake up every day, stuck in the same routines, repeating the same cycles, never realizing that their habits are shaping their future. Here's the hard truth. Your brain is programmed by what you repeatedly do. Every time you take an action, you reinforce a neural pathway in your mind. Do it enough times and it becomes automatic. That's why bad habits are so hard to break, because your brain has locked them in. But here's the good news. You can reprogram your mind for success the same way. Think of your mind like a computer. If you've been running the wrong software, you don't throw away the computer. You update it. You install new programs. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Let's start with your identity. Most people try to change their behavior without changing the way they see themselves. That's why they fail. A person who says, "I want to quit smoking," is still identifying as a smoker who's trying to quit. But a person who says, "I don't smoke," is affirming a new identity. See the difference? One is struggling to change. The other has already decided who they are. You have to decide who you are before the change happens. Are you the kind of person who prioritizes growth? Who wakes up with purpose? Who follows through on commitments? If not, reprogram yourself. Start small, one habit at a time. Reinforce the identity you want to build. Want to be disciplined? Start by making your bed every morning. Want to be a leader? Start by speaking up in meetings. Want to be successful? Start acting like someone who's already successful. Because the moment you believe you are that person, every action you take will follow. So here's your challenge. What's one identity shift you need to make today? Decide now. Install the right program. And watch how fast your life changes. Your brain is a powerful machine. It repeats whatever you train it to do, whether good or bad. Most of the time, you're not even making conscious decisions. You're running on autopilot. Think about this. When you wake up, you have to decide whether to brush your teeth? No, you just do it. That's because your brain has automated the habit. Now imagine if you could do the same for success. What if waking up early became automatic? What if discipline was your default setting? That's what happens when you train your brain the right way. Here's how it works. Every time you repeat an action, you strengthen a neural pathway in your brain. Do it long enough and it becomes second nature. That's why bad habits feel so hard to break, because they've been reinforced over time. But it's also why good habits, once locked in, become effortless. Think of your habits like a well-worn path in a forest. If you keep walking the same trail, it gets clearer and easier to navigate. But if you stop using that path and start creating a new one, over time the old path disappears and the new one becomes the default. The question is, what pathways are you reinforcing? Are you training your brain for laziness, procrastination, and fear? Or are you building the mental wiring for success, resilience, and discipline? Because here's the thing. Your brain doesn't care whether a habit is good or bad. It only cares about repetition. So starting today, train it wisely. Start building the habits that will serve your future, not sabotage it. Because once the right habits are locked in, success won't feel like an effort. It will feel like autopilot. Every habit you repeat is another page in the story of your future. What kind of ending are you writing? Right now, without realizing it, you are writing your own life story through your daily habits. The question is it the story you actually want? Imagine your life 5 years from now if nothing changes. The same habits, the same routines, the same excuses. Where will you be? Now, imagine a different version of you, the version that commits to small daily changes, the version that disciplines their mind, the version that chooses growth over comfort. Where does that person end up? Two completely different stories. The only difference? The habits you choose today. Because whether you realize it or not, you are always choosing. Every time you hit snooze instead of getting up, you're choosing your future. Every time you scroll mindlessly instead of learning, you're choosing your future. Every time you push yourself, stay disciplined, and take action, you're choosing your future. You can't escape this truth. Your habits are either writing a success story or a cautionary tale. So ask yourself right now, what kind of story do you want to tell? And more importantly, what will you do today to make sure it's the right one? Your mind is a garden. Every thought you entertain, every action you repeat is either a seed of growth or a weed that will choke your progress. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you are planting something. Some people plant seeds of discipline, gratitude, and resilience. Others plant seeds of doubt, laziness, and fear. And just like a real garden, what you plant today determines what you harvest tomorrow. Here's the thing, your mind doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever you give it. If you feed it negativity, excuses, and distractions, that's exactly what will take root and flourish. If you nurture it with focus, confidence, and action, that's what will grow. The problem is most people don't tend to their mental garden. They let weeds take over. They let fear grow wild. They let self-doubt spread like vines, wrapping around their dreams until there's nothing left. And then they wonder why their life isn't where they want it to be. But here's the truth. Your mind is always listening. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, your brain will make it true. If you keep saying, I'm just not that disciplined, your brain will reinforce that identity. But if you start telling yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am in control, your brain will start to believe it. And belief is the first step to transformation. So today, I want you to look at the seeds you've been planting. What kind of thoughts do you feed your mind every day? What kind of habits do you reinforce? What kind of future are you growing for yourself? Because if you don't like where you're headed, it's time to plant something new. Start pulling out the weeds. Get rid of negative self-talk, procrastination, and limiting beliefs, and start planting the seeds of success. Daily discipline, self-belief, and relentless action. Because your mind is the soil of your future. Make sure you're planting something worth growing. Most people think success is about big, dramatic changes. They believe they need a total life overhaul, a brand new routine, a fresh start. But the truth? Big success doesn't come from big changes. It comes from tiny, consistent improvements. Let me show you why. If you get just 1% better every day, it won't feel like much at first. One workout won't transform your body. One book won't make you a genius. One smart decision won't make you wealthy. But over time, that 1% compounds. In a year, you won't be 365% better. You'll be 37 times better. That's the power of the compound effect. Small habits stacked over time create unstoppable momentum. Let's look at a real-world example. Two people start at the same place in life. One makes tiny, positive changes. Reading 10 minutes a day, waking up a little earlier, choosing discipline over distraction. The other makes tiny negative choices, skipping workouts, procrastinating, making excuses. At first, the difference is invisible, but give it a year. The first person has built knowledge, strengthened discipline, and taken control of their future. The second, they're stuck, wondering why nothing changed. Same starting point, two completely different destinations. And that's where you have a choice. Do you want to be the person who makes excuses or the person who makes progress? Do you want to look back a year from now and see wasted time or proof that you invested in yourself? If you commit to just 1% growth every day, I guarantee you your future will be unrecognizable. Because success isn't about how fast you change. It's about how consistently you improve. So start today, start small, and trust that the small things become everything. Most people are waiting for a breakthrough moment. They think success will come in a single flash of inspiration. They wait for the right opportunity, the right motivation, the right time. But let me tell you something. Success isn't an event, it's a habit. It's not something that happens to you, it's something you create every single day. Look at the most successful people in the world. They didn't stumble into greatness, they built it. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player because of one lucky game. He became great because he practiced harder than anyone else. Steve Jobs didn't change the world with one brilliant idea. He changed it through years of relentless innovation and obsession with detail. The common thread? Daily discipline. The difference between winners and everyone else isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence. It's the ability to show up every single day and do the work, even when no one is watching, even when they don't feel like it, even when progress feels invisible. The problem is most people aren't willing to do that. They want success without sacrifice. They want results without repetition. They want the reward without the grind. And that's why they stay stuck. So today I want you to ask yourself, are you treating success like an event or like a habit? Are you waiting for the right moment or are you creating it? Because your future isn't built in one big moment. It's built in the small daily choices that no one sees. And the people who commit to those choices, they're the ones who win. Now, I've given you the truth about habits. I've shown you why small changes matter, why discipline beats motivation, and why your future is built on what you do daily. But none of that matters if you don't take action. So here's your challenge. Pick one habit. Do it for 30 days. Watch your life change. Why 30 days? Because that's how long it takes to lock in a new habit, to make it automatic. The hardest part isn't starting, it's staying consistent long enough for the habit to become a part of who you are. So here's what I want you to do. Step 1, choose a habit that will change your future. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, read for 10 minutes every day, work out for just 5 minutes. Step 2, track it. Make it visible. Write it down. Mark it on a calendar. Keep yourself accountable. Step 3, don't break the chain, even on the days you don't feel like it. Even when motivation runs out, show up anyway. Because after 30 days, something amazing happens. You stop thinking about the habit. It just becomes who you are. And once that happens, you've already won. So don't wait for the right time. Start today. Start now. And prove to yourself that you can change everything one habit at a time. Your future isn't being stolen by massive failures. It's being drained by tiny daily habits that go unnoticed. See, most people think success is about doing the right things, and they're not wrong. But what they don't realize is that avoiding the wrong things is just as important. Because some habits don't just slow you down, they trap you. They disguise themselves as harmless routines. They feel comfortable, familiar, and easy. But slowly over time, they rob you of your energy, your focus, and your potential. But are they? The just one more trap. Just one more episode, just one more scroll, just one more excuse. It feels small in the moment, but it adds up to a life of wasted time. The tomorrow mentality, I'll start working out tomorrow. I'll build that business next month. No, you won't, because tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. The comfort addiction. Growth is uncomfortable, and if you choose comfort over progress, you'll always stay exactly where you are. These habits seem harmless. They don't feel destructive, but they keep you stuck because they rob you of momentum. And momentum is everything. The longer you stay in a pattern of procrastination, the harder it is to break free. The longer you wait to take action, the more your mind convinces you that you can't. So today, I want you to take a hard look at your daily habits. What's keeping you stuck? What's draining your time? What's keeping you comfortable instead of pushing you forward? Because your future isn't built on what you say you'll do, it's built on what you do consistently. And if you don't change these hidden traps, they won't just steal your success, they'll steal your life. Your brain isn't wired for success, it's wired for survival. And that's why it craves comfort over growth. Let me explain. Your brain runs on dopamine, the chemical that makes you feel good. And the fastest way to get dopamine? Distractions. Scrolling social media, binge watching shows, playing video games for hours. These things feel productive. They give you a quick dopamine hit. But in reality, they're stealing your energy, motivation, and time. And the worst part? Your brain gets addicted to them. It's called the dopamine loop. The more you chase quick dopamine, the harder it becomes to focus on real progress. That's why working out feels harder than watching Netflix. That's why building a business feels harder than playing video games. That's why reading a book feels harder than scrolling through social media. Your brain tricks you into avoiding real work because real work doesn't give you instant rewards. But here's the secret. The most successful people in the world have trained themselves to delay gratification. They've reprogrammed their minds to crave long-term success instead of short-term pleasure. And if you want to break free from the dopamine loop, here's what you need to do. Reduce dopamine distractions. Set time limits on social media. Cut back on mindless entertainment. Make success habits easier to start. Want to read more? Leave a book where you can see it. Want to work out? Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Reward real progress. Instead of rewarding yourself for scrolling, reward yourself for making progress, like finishing a workout, reading a chapter, or learning a new skill. Because once you shift your brain to crave real success instead of fake rewards, everything changes. And suddenly, the things that used to feel hard become the things you can't live without. The chains that hold you back are invisible until you choose to see them. Most people don't even realize they're trapped. They don't see the mental patterns that keep them stuck. They don't notice how their daily habits shape their future. They live on autopilot, convinced that change is out of their control. But here's the truth. Awareness is the first step to freedom, because the moment you recognize the patterns holding you back, you can break them. So let's do a self-check right now. What are the habits you repeat every day? What thoughts play in your mind over and over again? What patterns have been keeping you in the same place for years? Because if you don't see them, you can't change them. But the second you do, everything shifts. You realize that success isn't about luck, it's about patterns. And once you break the patterns that don't serve you, you unlock a level of progress you never thought possible. So here's your challenge. Start paying attention. The next time you catch yourself making an excuse, stop and ask, is this a habit I want to reinforce? The next time you waste time on distractions, ask, is this helping or hurting my future? Because once you build awareness, your excuses lose their power. Your old patterns start to fall apart. And suddenly, the things that once controlled you no longer have a hold on you. If you want lasting change, stop focusing on what you do. Start focusing on who you are. Most people try to change their behavior without changing their identity. That's why they struggle. They want to be healthy, but they still see themselves as someone who hates working out. They want to be successful, but they still identify as someone who isn't disciplined. They want to be confident, but they still tell themselves, I'm just shy. Here's the problem. Your actions will always match your identity. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way you see yourself. Don't just try to wake up early. Become the kind of person who values discipline. Don't just try to read more. Become the kind of person who loves learning. Don't just try to be successful. Become the kind of person who takes action no matter what. Because when your identity shifts, your habits follow automatically. And suddenly, the things that once felt like a struggle become a part of who you are. So today, I want you to make a decision, not about what you're going to do, about who you're going to become. Because once you commit to that, your future is already set in motion. Willpower is overrated. Most people think they fail because they don't have enough discipline. But the truth is, your environment has more power over you than your willpower ever will. If your surroundings make bad habits easy, you'll fall into them. If they make success easy, you'll rise to it. Look at your environment right now. Is it helping or hurting your growth? Does it make it easy to focus or easy to get distracted? Does it push you forward or keep you stuck? The most successful people don't rely on motivation. They set up their environment to make success inevitable. Want to eat healthy? Keep junk food out of your house. Want to be more productive? Remove distractions from your workspace. Want to read more? Surround yourself with books. Because when your environment is designed for success, winning becomes automatic. Your future isn't about luck. It's about what you do every single day. And now that you know the truth, it's time to build the habits, the mindset, and the identity that will take you there. Because your future isn't written yet. You're writing it right now. Big changes feel overwhelming, but 2 minutes? Anyone can do 2 minutes. Here's the secret. You don't have to commit hours of your day to start making progress. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to change your life. The key is to make it so easy that you can't ignore it. The 2-minute rule works like this. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes to start, there's no reason not to begin. And what's amazing about this is that once you start, the momentum takes over. Want to read more? Don't commit to reading 50 pages right now. Commit to reading just 1 page. Want to exercise more? Don't sign up for a full gym session right away. Just put on your workout clothes. Want to start a business? Don't try to build the whole thing in one day. Just brainstorm your first idea. The trick is that once you start, it's much easier to keep going. The first step is always the hardest, but with the 2-minute rule, it becomes simple, even automatic. Here's why it works. Our brains are wired to resist big tasks. We get overwhelmed by thinking about the entire journey. But if we break it down into something so small it's almost laughable, it becomes too easy to skip. The key is getting the ball rolling, no matter how small the push. So, what's the 2-minute habit you can start today? Maybe it's doing a quick stretch, writing one sentence, or cleaning one section of your workspace. Whatever it is, commit to the smallest action and watch how quickly it grows. Because once you take that first small step, the second one is easier. The third one feels almost natural, and soon the habit becomes so deeply embedded that you can't imagine your life without it. The magic lies in getting started. So don't overcomplicate things. Make success too easy to ignore.